chesed yibaneh. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. I will build this world from love. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. And you must build this world from love. Yalalai, lalai, lalai, lalai. And if we build this world from love, lalai, 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 then God will build this world from love. Yalalai, lalai, yalalai, lalai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
After a busy week of work and school, of volunteering and learning, of cleaning out our homes of those last traces of chametz and preparing delicious Passover meals, we arrive at Shabbat. And not just any Shabbat, but Shabbat Hagadol, the big Shabbat. And there are a few reasons for this name of Shabbat Hagadol. One of them is that the services on this Shabbat were traditionally very long. In fact, the rabbi's sermon on Shabbat Hagadol is so long traditionally that it can last for an hour. And people were accustomed to getting home from this big Shabbat service very late. So you ready? You ready for an hour-long sermon? Don't worry, you don't need to. Not going to be that long. So there's a couple of other potential reasons for why it's called Shabbat Hagadol. One is because of a miracle that happened days before Passover. 5 days before their exodus from Egypt, God gave the Israelites the first commandment for each household to get a lamb, which would be used as a Passover sacrifice. It was miraculous that the Egyptians did not stop them in this quest. And that lamb would be used as a symbol so that the angel of death would pass over their homes and eventually lead the people to their freedom. That lamb was not only a symbol of things to come, the temple in which Israelites would worship for centuries, but it was also a sign of hope, of God's presence in their lives. It was Shabbat Hagadol, this great big turning point. And finally, the third reason that it's called Shabbat Hagadol is after the Haftarah portion, in the book of the prophet Malachi, he speaks to this great day in which the prophet Elijah would return, where parents and children should reconcile and a messianic age would begin. It speaks to the redemption we hope to receive, in which we will continue to work for in the year ahead. On this final Shabbat before Pesach, as we rid our homes and our hearts of chametz, we take this opportunity of this moment to dream about what a world of redemption would truly look like and what we can do to realize that dream. And so let us light the Shabbat candles to begin this great Shabbat together. And I'd like to call on Cheryl Holtzman, who will light them this evening.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Cheryl. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love those tea light candles for Shabbat. It's so beautiful to see how different people have different kinds of candlesticks and stuff, and just really celebrate. And it's beautiful. Thank you.
It is. And tonight we turn to this next blessing. Thank you so much, Cheryl, again. This next blessing is our Kiddush blessing. We will enjoy grape juice or wine tonight in one glass, and tomorrow we will drink 4. It isn't surprising then that the language about both the Exodus and Shabbat appears in our Kiddush, our sanctification prayer. To point it out, as you'll notice when we get to the second part of the blessing, that I put all of the references to Shabbat in blue and all of the references to Passover in purple. Psychoanalyst Eric Fromm taught, the Sabbath ritual has such a central place in the biblical religion because it is more than a day of rest in the modern sense. It is a day of salvation and freedom. This is also the meaning of God's rest. This rest is not necessary for God because he is tired, but it expresses the idea that great as creation is, greater and crowning creation is peace. God must really rest not because he is tired, but because he is free and fully God only when he has ceased to work. So is man fully man only when he does not work, when he is at peace with nature and his fellow man. That is why the Sabbath commandment is at one time motivated by God's rest and at the other by liberation from Egypt. Both mean the same and interpret the other. Rest is freedom.
And so we raise our cup overflowing with joy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. We continue to welcome Shabbat with joyous song. Lechu neranena l'Adonai. Come, let us sing joyously to God. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, lezuri shenu, lekatana v'toda. Naria, naria, lezuri shenu, b'zirot naria lo. Lefuneranena, lefuneranena, lefuneranena l'Adonai. Lefuneranena, lefuneranena, lefuneranena l'Adonai. We welcome the Shabbat bride with these words, Lechadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabla. Beloved, come to greet the bride. Beloved, come to greet Shabbat. Lechadodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabla. yalalai, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet v'litzilah. Lechadodi likat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Lechadodi likat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Lechadodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabla.
Just as we welcomed in Shabbat with those beautiful words of song, so too do we welcome in one another. So I invite you in the chat to send a message of Shabbat Shalom, of just welcome and hello to anyone in the community, and bonus points if it's someone who you don't know, to welcome them as well. As we prepare ourselves to offer the words of the Baruch Hu, the call to worship, calling ourselves to prayer.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv avim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim. God of creation, who makes the evening fall, from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars, and Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaron ma'ariv aravim בחוכמה פותח שערים ברוך אתה אדוני המריב
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and simple. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Praised are you, God, who loves your people, Israel. And right now, I want us to look at this picture on the screen, because the book of Torah can inspire us in so many ways to live our lives with integrity and purpose, with love and with joy. And this week, we celebrate because one rabbi, Rabbi Gilad Kariv, earned a seat on the Knesset in Israel. It's not surprising that a rabbi would serve in the Israeli government. Many, many do. But this is the very first time that a Reform rabbi has earned a seat. May more of us, inspired by holy words, continue to stand up for inclusion and love. And with that, we offer these words of prayer, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
When Israel stood facing the Sea of Reeds, and the command was given to move forward, each of the tribes hesitated, saying, "We do not want to be the first to jump into the sea." Nachshon saw what was happening and jumped into the sea. At that moment, Moses was standing and praying. God said to him, "My beloved ones are drowning in the stormy seas, and you are standing and praying?" Moses replied, "Master of the world, what am I to do?" Said God, You lift your staff and spread your hand over the seas, which will split, and Israel will come into the sea upon dry land. And so it was. Following Nachshon's lead, the Israelites entered the sea and were saved.
ונאמר כי בד אדוני את יעקב גאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. As we enter into this Pesach with the uncertainty and the excitement that is ahead of us in this year to come, we ask, just as the Israelites did as they were exiting Egypt, for God to guide our steps and help us find our way. This beautiful interpretation by Julie Silver. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Veshameru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. Shabbat, Shabbat Yayin Avash. Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your Shabbos and guide my steps.
Return to the words of the amidah, allowing ourselves to say the words on the page as well as the words that our hearts long to say. Let's give ourselves a moment to reflect, to focus, to be upright with the prayers in our hearts being expressed the way that we long to express them.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid teilatecha. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
We are about to start our Torah service. There's something that I learned this past week that I thought was really interesting. Not the fact itself, but rather that it's something that I hadn't come across before. I found out that in the week before Passover, on the 10th of Nisan, it is the anniversary of the death of Miriam. Miriam is a character in the Torah who is so incredibly important. Every single thing about the Exodus and the Passover story that we are going to embark on in just 24 hours from now, sorry if that scares anyone, is because of everything that Miriam did as a sister, as a leader, who often is not acknowledged enough within our text. And so today, in honor of blessing the Torah, I would love to invite anyone who identifies as a female in Miriam's honor to join with me in offering this blessing of Torah. In honor of all the Miriams out there, of all the strong women out there who work to create a more egalitarian Jewish world, of which we are all blessed to be a part. So I invite you to unmute as we offer this blessing together. Ad, Shtaim, Shalosh. Baruch Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barachanu mikol ha'amim v'natan Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, צב את אהרון ואת בניו לאמור, זאת תורת העולה, היב העולה על מוקדה על המזבח כל הלילה עד הבוקר, ואש המזבח תוקד בו. ולבש הכהן מדובד ומכניסי בד ילבש על בשרו, והרים את הדשן אשר תאכל האש את העולה אל המזבח, ושמו אצל המזבח, ופשט את בגדיו ולבש בגדים אחרים, והוציא את הדשן אל מחוץ למחנה, אל מקום טהור.
אחד, שתיים, שלוש.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natanu et v'tokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thank you. And I know it is a cacophony of voices, but what a glorious cacophony it is for us all to be able to raise our voices in prayer on that beautiful Torah portion. So there is a story. Hold on one second. Let's make sure technology is working. There we go. There is a story about a rabbi's kid who goes to a URJ camp, of course. Where else would they go? Along with two other kids. And the rabbi's kid asks the others, "What do your parents do?" Well, one of them says, "My mom is a lawyer and my dad is a teacher." Another one replied, "Well, my mom is an architect and my other mom is also a teacher." And finally, the rabbi's kid piped up and said, "I have a stay-at-home dad, and my mom, she moves furniture." A mover of furniture may not be the typical description of a rabbi, but I assure you it might be more accurate than you think. Rabbis and cantors alike do spend a lot of time offering pastoral care, of leading worship, of dreaming and brainstorming and working with phenomenal leaders. But sometimes we are moving chairs and tables, adjusting the soundboards and controlling the PowerPoints. And you know what? It's a privilege to do so. Just a few minutes ago, we heard words from the Torah which describe the priest overseeing the burnt offering, which is sacrificed on the altar. The text continues, "The priest shall dress in linen raiment with linen breeches next to his body. And what should he do while wearing these clothes? He shall take up the ashes to which the fire has reduced the burnt offering on the altar and place them beside the altar." In other words, after doing the sacred work of helping the Israelites to connect with God through the Olah sacrifice, through this really profound way of worship, the priest has to take out the trash. So Rabbi Avi Weiss tells this story. That a few years ago, there was a husband and a wife that appeared before Rabbi Gifter, the Rosh Yeshiva of Telz, asking him to rule on a family dispute. The husband, a member of the Grifters Kollel, an all-day Torah learning program, felt that as one who studied Torah, it was beneath his dignity to take out the garbage. His wife, of course, felt otherwise. Rabbi Gifter concluded that while the husband should, in fact, help his wife, he had not religio-legal obligation to remove the refuse, The next morning, before the early services, the Rosh Yeshiva knocked on the door of the young couple. Startled, the young man asked Rabbi Gifter, asked him in, and he responded by saying, what are you doing here? Rabbi Gifter said, I have not come to socialize, but I've come to take out your garbage. You might believe it's beneath your dignity, but it is not beneath mine. Now, of course, this priest that we talk about in the Torah portion isn't actually truly taking out the trash. He's taking out the ashes. Rabbi Simcha Bunim, this great Polish Hasidic master from the 19th century, once taught that every single person must have two pockets with a note in each pocket, a very famous midrash of which many of you may have heard. And in one pocket, there should be a note that reads, "The world was created for me." It's a line from the Talmud, Sanhedrin 37b, which we are to take out and say whenever we're feeling low and depressed as a reminder of just how capable we truly are. But in the other pocket, there's a note that reads, "Va'anochi afar ve'efer," I am but dust and ashes. Words that Abraham says to humble himself before God as he argues for the sake of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Bunim teaches that whenever we are feeling haughty, we should take out these words and read them aloud, "I am but dust and ash," to remind us of our place. Offering sacrifices, of course, gave the priest great purpose. They were able to lead in a way that they were trained. They were appreciated and celebrated while having the capacity to serve the people and God wholeheartedly. But then, when they removed the ash, they were humbled. They were asked to do work that wasn't pleasant or desirable. But without it, no further sacrifices could be offered. And the Torah insists that it is holy work to take out these ashes, so holy, in fact, that only the priest could do it, and only in their sacred clothes created just for this very purpose. Rabbeinu Yonah of Gerondi, 13th century rabbi, puts it, a person must realize that sometimes what is considered menial work in human eyes merits the highest accord in God's eyes. The mitzvah of sweeping the altar is prefaced with the word sav, which means commandment. It's placed next to the korban olah, this great sacrifice to God. One must realize that the little unglorified acts also yield great sanctity. In the quest for spirituality, one must never demean the simple chores. Now, I offer these words, as I know so many of us have been engrossed in simple chores. The simple chores of scrubbing every crevice in our kitchen, the simple chores of cutting up those vegetables nice and small so they are just perfect for our Passover feasts. And as we do these things, we truly have a choice. We can act like the rabbi in the story who said, "No, I'm not going to take out the trash. I'm too good for that." Or we can be like the priests who saw in this act something that was sacred and something that was worthwhile. Every single act that we do, however menial, however small, has the capacity for sacredness, the capacity for something that we can connect to that is larger than ourselves if we choose to find it. And so I hope for everyone here today is that in the days ahead, as we celebrate the beautiful holiday before us, that we will not just enjoy the big things, but that we will take joy and glory and delight in the small things, even when those small things require us to take out the trash. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.
Beautiful.
As a community, we turn, after studying some words of Torah, to something that is just as important, offering prayers of healing to people in our community, people who need healing of mind, healing of body, and healing of spirit. So if there is anyone for whom you would like to offer this prayer, I invite you to write their names in the chat. And I also want to remind you, it is always okay to write your name as well. Sometimes every single one of us is in need of healing. Ivana Vargas and Tobia Ben Avraham, Reuven Moshe Bar Chaim Verifcha, Tim Palno, Daniel Fiss, Nadine Wilkerson, Sarah Gill, John Rush, Tamar Davidson, Pat Wade, and Sunny Felberg, Richard Hurwitz, Sam Morris, Fedora Brooks, Riva Skoll, Josie and Stephen Gianetto, Jackie Barley, Umpai, Darmiento, Jimmy Gill, Daniela Gravito, Mitch Rosen, Tara Swall, the Davis family, Marty Spiegel, the McHone family, Daniel Nuri and Letty, Tamar Davidson, Pat Wade, Rich and Jan Soroti, Robin Gregson, Adam Summerstein, Karen Lavoie, Heidi Davidson, Judah Rosen, Janice Torres, Marilyn Pang Segi, Stuart Chernikoff, Mark Newman, Tony Weisberg, Bobby Gershon, Bob Rips, Pat Wade, Tamar Davidson, Donna Metzger, Byung Choi, family, victims of the tornadoes, Sunny Felberg, Susie Felberg, Josh Montgomery, Jenna Stramford, and Dennis Lois, Steve Genosi, Al Zirkis, Ria Swartzbert, Sam Morris, Sarah Gill, Tamar Davidson, Barbara Finkelstein, Diane and Jim Law, Esther Malkalea, Jay, Tamar Davidson, the Sorkin family, Lori Rosetto, Sheila Chandra, and Pete DeLuca. For everyone whose names we said out loud and for everyone whose names we hold in our hearts, we wish them healing through this prayer.
Avotenu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yishebeirach imotenu mekor habracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, God, whose healing presence is with all of those in need. And let us all say, Amen. Beautiful interpretation of Aleinu L'Shabeach by Dan Nichols. It leads us into Pesach and our responsibilities so beautifully. It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption is what we're freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu leshabeach, it's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own our vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu leshabeach, it's time to live our praise. Aleinu leshabeach, it's time to live our praise.
One of the ways, of course, that we live our praise is by honoring people who have touched our lives and the legacies that they have left behind. We have had loss in these past several days, as well as the past several weeks and months. Tonight, we want to offer our deepest condolences to Ray Murphy and her family for the loss of her cousin, Marguerite McMahon, as well as Sylvia Davis. And we're so glad that you can be here tonight with us, to be in community with us as you mourn. We also are remembering in the period of Shloshim, the period of 30 days, Henry Lurie, Jerry Sorkin, Barbara Burke, and Millie Linnetz. We're observing the yartzites for Helene Balaxinu, Claude Vasilino, Georgette Belsky, Isidore Berman, Eleanor Bernstein, Michael Burney, Moish Belatrak, Joseph Birdman, Richard Cohn, Harrison Dyke, Audrey Bernice Benton, Morris Birdman, Joan Siegel Fogel, Eugenia Geller, Ben Gerson, Vilma Halaj, Barbara Hertzmark, Eli Hurwitz, Harry Jacob, Isaac Cattell, Arthur Kerner, Bessie Konigsberg, Dave Kaufman, Julia Krashen, Ida Marcus Kruger, Louis Leibowitz, Joel Leibowitz, Helene Lurie, Edna Manuel, David Martin, Maddie Mosenson, Ernie New, Philip Oppenheim, Gerald Pendrick, David Hananel Pariah, Isidore Petlock, Joseph Pollock, Isaac Rottenberg, Betty Rubin, Rebecca Becky Shahon, N. Schulman, Ida Pat Skoll, Sarah Soldmander, Pauline Spector, Flora Victor, Milton Wallace, Sydney Weiss, Aletta Welsh, Max Willens, and Evelyn Zirkis. In memory of all of them, we offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish, as well as Robert Moore, Max Willens, Augusta Clara, and Betty Weingold. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, ve'alma divrach harotei v'yamlich malchotei, v'chayachon v'yomachon, v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mivrach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitrabam v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chagim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories all be a blessing, and together let us say, amen.
Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And I just want to thank everyone who took part in services or who is about to. Cheryl Holtzman, thank you so much for leading us so beautifully in lighting the candles tonight. And for everyone who led us in the blessing over Torah, thank you so much for that as well. Cheryl Holtzman was also our Zoom greeter tonight, and we're so grateful for that. And Tom Rosenberg for being our greeter on Facebook. And now I want to thank and turn it over to Gail Efros, who's going to make some announcements on behalf of the Board of Directors.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Chag Sameach. It is my pleasure to be here tonight representing the Board of Directors. Some reminders about our wonderful upcoming Passover celebrations. Please join our TBE family tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for our community Passover Seder, hosted by Rabbi Cassi and Cantor Ilan. There will be an interactive and musical Seder for everyone to enjoy. You will find the Seder link in our Tuesday and Friday emails. There is also a Seder in the South Bay Passover experience on Sunday evening for those who observe two Sedarim, led by clergy from Congregation Ner Tamid and Temple Menorah. At 6 p.m. there will be a family Seder, and at 7 p.m. there will be a community Seder. Again, all the links can be found in your emails. Beginning on Monday, March 29th at 8:30 a.m., please join Rabbi Cassi as we count the Omer that will take place each morning in the days leading up to Shavuot. The 7-week period is filled with introspection and growth and will include prayer, spiritual teachings, and communal connections. The program is offered on Facebook Live and the Temple's YouTube channel. There's another Passover opportunity on Tuesday, March 30th at 6 p.m. to join with Rabbi Cassi, Rabbi Fox, and Cantor Sarah. Sorry, I can't, her name was blanked out on my copy, for the Workers' Justice Seder. We will relate the Passover story of the Jewish people's path from slavery to liberation and explore the connection with workers in their struggle for justice. Please note that we will not have Cantor's Corner that evening in order for you to be able to participate in the Seder. Again, please enjoy this Passover season, and Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
Thank you so much, Gail. And look at this, it's Shabbat Hagadol, and it's 8 o'clock and we finish services. See how nice we are to you. We're going to be concluding though with our breakout room. So please hang around so we can have some social time getting together. If you haven't eaten yet, that's okay. Bring your food over. You can always do that in community.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please enjoy your Oneg Shabbat together in community, and you'll be whisked away at this time.